Hey, you ever wonder what 1970 mobile phones look like?
Yeah, sure. What was the 70s music like?
The 70s were a time of transition for the world of music. Coming from the 70s, which is well known for people's disobedience to old societal rules, and that transitioned into the music as well, and which was mostly rock and at the time. On the other hand, 80s music from the 80s were very upbeat and happy.
What was special about 70s music?
Well, the 70s music did not create any new genres of music, but it helped create a middle ground of music that helped transition people from more rock to more upbeat music. What was created in the 70s was disco, and was very popular during this time.
What were the popular artists in the 70s?
There were a couple popular artists in the 70s. The Bee Gees mostly made love songs, but they also had other types of music as well. Rod Stewart was another massively famous artist in the 1970s. He had a song totaling 17 weeks on the top Billboard for 100. Jackson 5 were also growing in popularity, but they never reached the level of popularity the Bee Gees had in the 1970s.
What was important to the American people during the 70s?
There were many movements during the 70s, and environmentalists were very common because the people wanted to conserve the planet, and also the Watergate scandal was an event that happened with Richard Nixon, forcing him to resign as president, and he was replaced with Gerald Ford. And then environmentalists, there were also anti-war movements, which was very popular and very important to the people back in the 70s.
Were there any social movements or revolutions during the 70s?
The hippie culture was very big back in the 70s, and they were going against the Vietnam War.
They wanted less peace, less nuclear weapons, and they didn't like the power of government and the larger companies.
Also, many people from the hippie culture were a part of the environmentalist movement.
How did people from the 70s view or treat women or minorities?
Even though women were granted suffrage in 1920, they were still not being treated the way they should have been. And the National Organization for Women formed in 1966, and they worked for gender equality with many feminists. And racial tension was still high back in the 70s, but a member of Nixon's White House staff, Robert J. Brown, he made many moves towards equality for black Americans. And also, laws were put into place to try to limit racism and discrimination as much as possible, but it still continued.
What were some popular slang during the 70s?
Some popular slang included catch you on the flip side, do me a solid, psych, spaz, cool beans, 10-4 good buddy, take a chill pill, space cadet, and to the max.
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide, no escape from reality.
What type of clothing was popular during the 70s?
Alright, so for women, they went for the hippie look. They wore bell-bottom jeans, frayed jeans, tie-dye shirts, maxi dresses. They wore blouses too, and they also really liked to wear headbands. And for men, they really liked to wear bright colors. They wore satin shirts they also wore bell-bottom jeans. But they also like to wear tie-dye shirts, flannel shirts, sweaters, and Oxford shoes.
What were some popular hairstyles?
In the 70s, they were the shag, straight and sleek, page boy, the wedge, and all of them were pretty long hairstyles. And also dreadlocks became very popular because of Bob Marley.
What were some popular accessories?
Love beads, mood rings, hoop earrings, headbands, puzzle rings, and chokers.
What were some differences between men and women and also social classes in the 70s?
So the women, they went for the hippie look. Men also did that, but not as much as the women. And the men also like to wear very bright colors. But overall, men and women fashion was pretty similar.
Oh my god, we're matching!
And the difference between social classes were that, like, the middle class and the rich people, they wore the real brands, but the lower class, they just wore the fake brands by getting it from, like, thrift shops.
At first I was afraid, I was petrified. Kept thinking I could never live without you by my side. But then I spent so many nights thinking how you did me wrong. And I grew strong, and I learned how to get along. And so you're back.
Which venues were used for entertainment?
During the 1970s, there was no touchscreen technology, iPhones, iPads, or laptops. Everybody, mostly teenagers, went outside, grabbed a bite to eat, and went to the movies with their friends. The curfew was 9 o'clock.
Were there any popular movie stars or sports figures?
Yes, there was many. Sylvester Stallone is a famous actor during the 70s, Clint Eastwood is a very famous actor from the 70s, and John Travolta was the most famous actor from the 70s. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was the most popular basketball player in the 70s. Muhammad Ali was a legend of boxing during that decade. And Walter Payton was the most influential American football player during the
What were some
70s.
popular activities?
Popular activities during the 70s decade were more socially oriented rather than technological. Boys would play football outside, while girls would interact in playground fun such as hopscotch and jump rope. The most popular leisure activity would be to go to the movies and go to the disco. The disco was the most popular, and other leisure activities included playing Twister, bike riding, reading, playing outside with friends, board games, roller skating, go to drive-in movies, and bowling, and go to fondue parties and cocktail parties.
Do you remember?
What are some examples of technology from the decade?
Well, the first real video game, the Rubik's Cube.
I just got this new Rubik's Cube.
Wow, so cool.
Dude, I can solve it in 8 seconds.
No way.
You wanna see?
Let me see.
Bro. It's done.
Yo, I gotta get a cube and beat you next time.
Oh yeah, you're gonna beat me?
The mobile phone, email, digital camera, genetic engineering, the first calculator, the first word processor, and the first microprocessor.
In what ways does this new technology help people in the present?
The technology that was invented in the 1970s helped shape the foundation of what we have today. The mobile phone came out, which now we have iPhones.
Bro, you will not believe what I just got in the mail.
Did you get it too?
Bro, there's no way you got one too.
I don't know what you got, but I just got the first mobile phone.
Bro, Nokia is killing the game. Best technology I've ever seen.
And then video games also came out back then. And now we have VR systems, bigger game models, and better games that we can all have fun on.
How's the economy?
The economy in 1970s is doing very bad. In an 18-month period, there has been 40 loss in the stock market. People are now scared to invest money. People didn't have money to spend, and there were less jobs. There was no growth in the economy due to the employment rate. From 1973 to 1974, the stock market crashed because of the oil crisis in October 1973. Well, it was a huge problem in 1970 that led to a recession.
Were there any shortages?
There are continued shortages all over the United States. People are struggling with gas shortages. There was the oil crisis of 1973 that was caused because of the organization of Arab petroleum exploring countries declaring an embargo because they were upset that the U.S. resupplied the Israel military.
What was the unemployment rate?
The unemployment in the United States was high. The unemployment rate was 6.1%. The oil prices was a part of the problem. There is a demographic change in the labor force. The economy is very poor because of the policies in place.
How did the labor force change and how did the homeless live?
There was a job shift in the labor force from manual labor to service, and there are many jobs in technology. Homelessness became a part for many people because they struggled because of the bad economy.